Just on time. There we go. We're live.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to episode 78 of the Hop Edition. We have got a review today of the epic event that was BrewCon last weekend and everything that went on there. Loads to talk about. There's some really cool content from that weekend going to be dropping very soon, so keep your eyes out for that. And,
9 o'clock in the morning.
And so we're just going to do a little bit of a review of that, talk about some of the stuff that we saw, some of the people that we met, some of the things that we learnt, and how bad everyone's hangovers were following.
They were fairly bad
as well. So
they were fairly bad. Yeah, Owen's getting all this like first time round because he wasn't there. He had other things that he had to deal with. So I feel bad for Owen.
I do. Poor Owen.
He could have had the hangover that we all had. And yeah, hang on. Forgot to do the intro, you donuts.
Schoolboy error.
Jesus Christ. Hang on just a minute. Right. Pretend this didn't happen. We're going. Ready?
Welcome to the Hop Edition podcast, brought to you in association with the Malt Miller, your go-to choice for premium homebrewing ingredients and equipment. Whether you're a beginner starting out or an experienced brewer, the Malt Miller has got you covered. So for top quality products and customer service, jump over to themaltmiller.co.uk and tell them the Hop Edition sent you. We would also like to thank all our Patreons for their continued support with running and developing the pod. If you would like to become a member and gain access to exclusive perks and benefits, head over to patreon.com/the Hop Edition. Now it's time to get this pod started, so crack open a homebrew and enjoy the episode.
Yeah, forgot about that one.
Hang on a minute. Something's changed. Something's changed.
We've got more people. They've decided to join us. We found these three reprobates. They were floating around in the pre lobby, and we just decided to invite them in. So, welcome to Stiffo, welcome to Joe, welcome to Rob. You three are awesome, and as you might have guessed from the intro,
good evening.
We picked up a new sponsor.
We've got some news. Awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
What have we got ourselves into?
I don't know.
The 77 episodes you can listen to and find out. I'll be honest with you. Yeah. Thanks for coming on, guys. Appreciate it. And to be fair, we spent most of BrewCon stood drinking with you guys and talking about Giacattis and pointing out food that we can eat. So, yeah, it was cool and it was good to meet up with you guys. I really enjoyed it.
Nice, good fun.
Great to be here. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks for having us again.
I know.
Yeah, but it's Joe's first
so badly
time.
The first time you got invited back. I know.
Yeah, glad to have you on, Joe.
It's
about time.
Very much.
I've got to say, Reiki's changed.
I'm hoping for the better.
I'm saying nothing.
Oh, I think you've sent him to Alcatraz or something, haven't you? I mean, what did he do wrong? Definitely. What has he done wrong to deserve that?
Quite a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a long list.
Not enough time on this podcast to talk about them. Shall we start off with a quick, what are we drinking? Because it'd be rude not to, really. And I think, given the fact that Joe is literally the second lady that we've had on this podcast, we should start with Joe.
Really?
What are you drinking, Joe?
I am drinking a little bit. I've just built up my laptop. Beyond the Furs.
Nice
beer, that.
From Burnt Mill Brewery.
Why are you drinking that, Joe?
Well, firstly, it's a gluten-free beer.
Yeah.
Secondly, we have been spending a little bit of time with Burnt Mill, haven't we, James?
We have, yeah, it was good fun.
Yeah.
And met Charles and Sophie this week and the team there. It's good fun, wasn't it?
Had a couple of days with them, which was awesome. And there's more to come on that in the next couple of weeks.
Sweet. That's really good. It's a lovely beer, that one as well. The Citra.
I love it.
It's Citra Centennial, isn't it?
It is Citrus Centennial, yeah.
It works really well.
West Coast,
Yeah,
isn't it?
Yes.
West Coast Pale.
Yeah. Pale.
We're big
Citrus Centennial dry hopped with. Yeah, it's got Idaho 7 and Simcoe in it as well. So it is a very nice drinkable beer.
Yeah, I've got to say,
the first.
I've got to say that I'm a bit disappointed with Burnt Mill.
Why?
Right. All of their beers are amazing. However, they made the best beer of 2023 once. I got one can, and I've not seen it on sale since. Imperial Measures, their double stout, a 4.2% that drank like a 9%er. Soft, smooth, chocolatey, just a gorgeous, gorgeous beer. And it's never been back on their web shop.
When was that? How long ago was that?
It was a mind-boggling beer. It was like an imperial stout at 4%.
It was superb. It was March like this year, Rob.
It was a collab, wasn't it? With New Barnes? Was it New Barnes?
I think you're right.
I think it was New Barnes. Yeah, it was an incredible beer, an incredible beer. But yeah, that one, Beyond the Furs, is a really nice beer as well.
It is a very good beer. So that's me. I'm started off.
Okay, Rob.
I've got Bob's Best from Good Chemistry. So I'm starting off low ABV, and we'll see how we go. But yeah, no, we've obviously been doing quite a bit of work with Good Chemistry as well. So Bob's Best is just I was going to call it a bog standard best bitter, but it's not. It's absolutely delicious.
Awesome,
it's got that lovely nuttiness about it. It's just a really, really nice beer.
Do you remember that phase, Rob?
Last weekend.
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Vaguely.
Just about.
That's an absolute cracker, that. Come on then, Stiffo, what are you drinking?
I am on. I'm going to top it up so that there's a nice full glass to show you.
Oh, here we go. The Pro.
Looks like Burning Sky, sorry.
It is. Saison Houblon.
Hang on.
So following mine and Martin's trip down to Burning Sky a few months ago now, actually, wasn't it? I'm in love with this beer. It's so good. So good. And we've got some in the fermenter at work as well, which is...
I was going to ask that, yeah, because I don't think you've done a tasting yet, have you?
No. That's being lined up for the next few weeks. It's absolutely stunning. And actually, the one we've got in the tank at work is tasting very, very similar to the original. So, yeah, it's really good.
Awesome.
Nice.
The way they keep... Sorry, but I hate to harp on about it, but... The way they keep their Saison yeast in check by not letting the temperature go all over the place, no more than 21 degrees, just keeps everything in balance. It's really refined.
So it tastes like a starter Saison, like, my first Saison, because it's not burning the back of your throat with every mouthful.
Yeah, and it's dry hops as well with, all of the hops that are used in the boil. So Solea and Striskel Spout, but then also a little dash of Centennial as well. And the Centennial just adds a little sort of nice, light, lemony touch to it, which is beautiful.
Okay. Sounds good. Now, the four of us, we're on a usual 30 seconds and a mark out of 5. So, Andy, go.
Right, sorry, but this is the 5 points best bitter. That was another... that was a collab you guys did, I'm sure, with the Homebrew... was it channel? Craft Beer channel? Yeah. And it's the cool thing with this is it was the Fuggles grown from my back garden, so it was wet hot.
Oh, nice. Awesome. That's
as well.
Touch.
Yeah, and then in the cask, and I'm getting just now it's all that amber malt, so I'm getting coffee notes with that sort of crystal sort of thing. And yeah, it's nice Fuggles sort of earthiness come through as well. So there you go.
Mark out 5. Mark out 5.
It's 4 out of 5. I think it needs more time to condition. You know what amber malt's like. So yeah, a little bit more time, and I think it'll be really.
Is it
good.
Fawcett's amber malt?
I don't know. I think it was whatever I got from the malt weller anyway at the time. So
I'll find out. I can't remember off the top of my head.
Stiffo will search for your orders and then laugh at how much you've spent. Owen, come on, what are you drinking, buddy boy?
Oh, well, I'm walking very closely behind Stiffo. and also drinking Saison Houblon.
Oh, nice.
After watching your series of videos, I was like, I need some Burning Sky in my life. I think they've just done their 10-year anniversary, haven't they?
Yeah.
I think they had some really exciting beers on their web shop. So jumped in, bought Provision 23, a few other beers. Got this. Have you tried the Liqueur de Provision? The baby.
That's
version.
Next on my list tonight.
Oh, it's amazing. It's lovely. So I'm going to score this 4.7. Back off, Chris.
Okay, Tricky, what you got?
Right, I'm on in my nice branded glass here.
Oh, nice glass.
It's not bad, is it? It still smells lagery, so it's the rebrew of that recipe. I didn't change it that much, and it got a bronze in the BrewCon competition. So I'm quite pleased I've managed to be consistent with it, and still get it to the point it was. Didn't get the gold, but it still placed, so I'm happy with that. And it scored 42, so I'll give it a 4.2 out of 5. I think that's fair. So
you got a 42 and came third.
Yeah, it was a pretty tough category, but they basically put all the lagers, pale lagers, in together, so it was everything in there. But yeah,
I have to say I've drunk that beer. He sent me a bottle, and I was absolutely distraught that I couldn't criticise it in any way, shape, or form.
You tried.
I did want to. I did want to, but I couldn't find.
I think you sort of mumbled something, sulfur, and then
that was about it, really. Yeah. I am drinking Wiper and True's Espresso Martini Milk Stout, and I've forgotten just how good this beer is, so it's nearly gone. Tastes lovely. Coffee, up the yin yang, chocolate, plenty of chocolate, nice sort of thick, not too thick though, but nice and thick, and that creamy flavour coming through. Really good beer, well recommended. And also, I found this in Sainsbury's.
Oh, really?
Touch.
You can't go wrong with that, can you?
No, it's good.
3 cans for £4. Cheers, Sainsbury's. So yeah, that's the intro done. That's the intro. So, new sponsor. What can we look forward to working with the Malt Miller? Well, what I see the ability to talk about whatever we want with whoever we want, because we were having some issues with not feeling like we could talk about other products when we were dealing with other guests, and that was a big thing for us. You know me, I'm from Yorkshire. I say what I like, and I like what I bloody well say. But for me, it's more about being honest and true, and being able to just say, I don't like this because of this, and I do like this because of this. And that's basically what we're after. Plus, let's face it, you guys stock everything, including barbecue food, coffee.
Yeah, coffee. Yeah, I've seen that.
And I couldn't believe when I looked at your indie fridge, when I looked at it on the website, and I'm just like, I haven't had that for years. I haven't had that for years. I haven't had that for years. Never seen that before. And that was literally just me running around down 2 pages of your indie beer. More choice for everybody is always a good thing. So that for me is a wonderful, wonderful thing. And that's what I'm looking forward to the most. Plus, I'm also going to get to ride a Panigale.
Rob, have you actually got a Panigale?
I have actually got a Panigale, yeah.
Yes, we've had this discussion.
I keep on saying he can come down and swing his leg over the bike, but I
don't know if the suspension would take.
Oh, hang on a second. He never said anything. Hang on. He never said anything about keys. He never said anything about keys. It's a good job I know how to hotwire a bike.
We'll put it on the paddock stand so you don't fall off it, and you'll be absolutely fine. You can just have a little sit. We'll take a photo. It'll be great.
I am disappointed. Yeah, it's just moving forward. Do we want to talk about that thing that we talked about last podcast, Stiffo?
Which thing? Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do you want to do it? You do it then. You do it.
Yeah, I'll do this. Yeah,
you do it.
So, on the podcast, look, first off, we're really excited to be working with the 4 of you. You guys have definitely got the homebrewing community at the heart of everything you do, and that's what's really, really important to us, right? I've said it a million times before. I said it on the last time we were on the podcast. Everything we do is to benefit homebrewing, right? To benefit the community, to help people learn, help people grow, help people brew better beer at home. And I think that's a shared value, right? So we're really excited to see what we can do together. And I think, we'll be really open to comments from everybody that's viewing this or listening to this to hear what you'd like to see from our fledgling relationship. But one thing that came up last time we were on the podcast was we went round and had a discussion about, like, if you had to choose a smash beer, what would it be? Right. And we all went round and we all were on the spot. Oh, what are we going to choose? What are we going to choose? And then, people were choosing each other's before they got to them, all that kind of stuff. Well, from Monday, you will be able to go to maltmiller.co.uk, go to our recipe kit section. There will be a Hop Edition podcast section where you'll be able to choose any of those recipes you want and brew them. Okay. But also any other recipes that kind of come up over the course of, our relationship, we're going to have there. All right. We're going to have a proper good selection of, your recipes. We're going to put things in there like, Rich has already shared his Smells Lagery recipe. We'll put that in there. Because we know that people like to have like a one-stop shop where they can go and just browse something that they're fans of. So yeah, like I said, from Monday morning, they'll be there available.
That's awesome.
Fantastic.
That is awesome.
On that note, where we're doing episodes with breweries and things like that, if there are recipes being shared as part of that process, then that's obviously something that we're going to be able to work with you guys on. And in fact, we have got something already in the pipeline for that. So Andy from Elusive has very kindly shared a recipe with us that is going to be going up, and he's also put together a tasting pack of his beers too. So look out for that, and the date for that is going to be 8th of November. So obviously you've got opportunity to go and brew a recipe that we're going to talk through on the podcast using the all grain kit that Malt Miller are going to provide, and hopefully drink along with some of the beers, do a bit of a tasting. So I think it's going to give us more opportunities to do things like that, whereas a little bit more interaction and the ability to actually try out the stuff like you're saying that we're talking about on the podcast, which that's one thing I'm really looking forward to as well.
Yeah. Just a quick question. Sorry, Stefan, I've got to ask this question. Tricky. Is he's actually made this live, so you can actually go there and buy them right now?
Yes, I think so. But it's okay. The link is not. You can't find it unless you have the direct link at the moment. So if we
so I better not share that then, right?
Well, you can share it out now. There's no harm in that. If people want to jump on and buy the beers now, then they can do that. If people want to see that, then they can go here. I'll just pop it up on the screen. So elusivebrewing.com/hop-edition, and it gives you a list of all the beers that are available. It also gives you the price. And right down here, I was just wondering, because there's a button that says add to cart, and I nearly clicked it. I'll be honest, because I saw the Delfino New Zealand Pale, which is one of the few that I've heard about. I haven't actually drunk it yet, but it says New Zealand Pale at 3.4. It's almost like he made a beer specifically for me, and I was very tempted. Had you in mind, Chris, for sure.
Totally,
and the British government.
Yeah, probably. But 35 quid for those beers, I think, is an absolute bargain.
Well,
and everybody should be going there.
They've got a 10% discount on them already, sort of automatically. Yeah. So yeah,
that's why it says regular price $38.50, special podcast price 35 quid.
Exactly.
There we go. So
cool.
I think that's amazing. Awesome. And yeah, I don't know why he nicked a low quality version of our logo, but he did. So yeah, quality. I thought that was. Oh, hang on, what's going off? David Coulthard talking about McLaren's secret brake pedal. I don't think so. That's my YouTube view.
I'm hoping Andy's not thinking that we're going to drink all 8 of those beers when he comes on the podcast.
Yeah,
because I'm
challenge accepted.
I mean, I'm
good for you, Andy. Good for you.
Just putting it out there. The one we did with you the first time round, probably got through a fair few that night.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, Rob.
It was
and getting more from the fridge.
It was the sneaky moment where Rob just went,
Stefan and Ricky are like, he's not went and got another one, has he?
He just slid back, slid round somebody, came back with a can, kind of put it on the table whilst we were talking to each other, and then the next thing you heard was, shh. And everybody looked around at Rob as if to say, what are you doing? And he just kind of had this look on his face like, I fucking own the company, shut up. It's one of those. It was brilliant.
The poor fellow was driving. I felt a bit sorry for him. Yeah. So he couldn't partake, but you know,
we made up for it, didn't we?
Someone on the naughty step, they get to drive.
Yeah, we did make up for it. Yeah.
Yeah, you guys definitely made up for it. It was that was a superb one actually. I listened back to it not long back. It just popped up on Spotify, and I thought, do you know what? That was a really, really good podcast. Especially the way, and this is, I'm not going to blow smoke up your ass too much, but I'm going to do it a little bit. It was the way that you sat when we were talking about the hops and you listened. It wasn't a question of, no, we do it this way and this is the way it's staying. It was the fact that you listened.
Yeah, that's
and you went, well, we've not heard this before. We're going to look into that. We're going to make sure we can do that. We're going to make that happen because it's something that you want.
And it has.
You listened. Say again.
They've done it.
I know. I'm waiting for Idaho 7 to go up, but I know. Yeah. This
is one of the really important things. So it's about listening to customers and making things happen, but also being really honest. So if there is something that we can't do, being able to give the reason that we can't do it, or we don't want to do it, or barriers that might get in the way. But mostly it's about being positive, listening to customers, and actually putting things in place, which actually forums like this really help us, because the more that we can chat to our customers, the better off we'll be. The more that we find out what the demand is, and it just points us in the right direction.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's actually what we've always done.
Yeah.
So it's fantastic.
Being able to touch our listeners and sort of get the feedback direct from them has got to be beneficial, though. I give it probably 2 months. You'll be selling Kamados.
He keeps banging on about Komodos in the chat that we've got. It's just, Komodo this, Komodo that.
I'm big into the dragons.
You'll end up having one in your back garden, right? Because I was the same. I was like, no, I'll just stick to my Weber.
Yeah, give it a couple of weeks. He'll break you down.
There'll be a 24-inch Kamado out there before you know it.
Especially when Costco start doing their big one on special and it's only 600 quid for a 24-inch Kamado. That's when you'll buy one.
Only 600 quid.
It's only 600 quid.
Bargain.
Absolute bargain.
Beer and barbecue. Yeah, they do go well together.
Very well together.
Oh, yeah. Married made in heaven. Absolutely.
Yeah, especially when you can, like, when you're doing jerk chicken on a Kamado and you just spray it with red stripe. That's the one. That's the one.
Look who's just showing up in the chat.
Martin Rake. Weber for the look at the comments.
Can I ban him?
He's escaped from Alcatraz. Yeah, you must be able to block him.
Who let him out? Sure. He must have swum across the river.
Brilliant.
Oh dear.
The last photo I saw, he was definitely inside a prison cell.
So what's brilliant is that I get Martin and I both wear an Apple Watch and we share our activity with each other. So I can see if Martin's gone for a walk or something like that, because it will say, Martin's done a walk.
Competition with these two.
But the other day,
does it tell you how many pints you drink now? Then, or something? Is that what you're? No,
but I do know if he's gone to the pub on a Friday night, because it will say Martin did a walk and it's 0.4 kilometers.
You know.
But I think it was yesterday or the day before. So Martin's on holiday at the moment. He's the other side of the world, ish. And I got a notification saying Martin Rake has just finished an outdoor bike ride. So I just instantly messaged him. This is like 10 o'clock at night.
Martin on a bike.
Yeah. I said, how was your bike ride? And I got an instant message back. Oh, yeah, it's right. Yeah. Been made to go for a little bike ride. Off to the pub now. But to be fair, he is drinking some amazing beers at the moment. So, yeah.
Are you getting lots of pictures? Yeah, he's updating his Untapped very regular, is he?
Yeah.
Oh,
well,
that's funny.
Yeah.
We're really glad.
Boring.
We're really, really glad to have you guys on board. And I'm also really glad that Joe could join us tonight because we had a good laugh at BrewCon. And one of the things that I'm quite sort of glad about is it's nice to actually meet everybody, because sometimes you get someone on and it's like one person's just not there because they don't do podcasts. And now we've had Reiki and Stiffo and Rob and now Joe. And it's like, yep, we've got the foursome. Yes. We're golden. This is good. This is where we're heading. And it's also nice to know that Joe's just as unhinged as I am. I mean that in a nice way. But yeah. So let's
listen, Chris. Can I just say this? I work in an office with Reiki, Stiffo, and Robert 5 days a week. If I wasn't unhinged, I wouldn't be on this planet.
If you weren't unhinged after the first week.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So,
Monty, you go and get one of those from the white fridge out there.
Reiki's drinking Elysian space dust. I don't like him very much. I need to ban him.
Live updates.
Yeah, live updates on what he's drinking. So let's move on. So what was BrewCon? Tricky, you were the one who was sober at BrewCon-ish. So why don't you tell us?
Have you watched that video back?
I remember up to the point where I left.
Just take notice of how the enthusiasm level goes up towards the end, and I'm much more smiley than normal. Yeah.
Go on then. What is BrewCon, mate?
Well, BrewCon is a convention for homebrewing where you have people who are obviously homebrewers turning up as the customers, as it were, and it's also tied in with various competitions this year, including the BrewCon Challenge and a Pro-Am this year as well, where we had lager breweries, British lager breweries going up against the amateur brewers, and then it's obviously got a lot of people from the brewing trade as well, in terms of suppliers, retailers, and various other bodies like SEBA and so on turning up with their stalls. And then the best part for me is all the talks and stuff that you have there where you can learn about all sorts of information from professional brewers, again, people who represent the suppliers and give you more detailed information on the products that they are developing or putting out there. And yeah, just lots of information. The keynote speaker this year was Jamil from Heretic, who is currently in the process of doing a book with Andy from Elusive that he mentioned to us when we interviewed him. So that's something that I think
Modern Brewing is
well, yeah, and based on the avalanche of information that he gave us in his talk, there's going to be a hell of a lot of interesting stuff.
He's knee deep in that
there.
Book,
so
isn't he?
yeah, so yeah, and that's kind of what it is. So I think, did I miss anything there? And obviously just a chance to meet up with everyone and socialise and meet people like yourselves and have a chat on the day as well, which is great.
Yeah, it was nice, wasn't it?
It was very cool. It was very cool. So Owen wasn't there. So I do believe
what I was about to say. Absolutely devastated that Owen wasn't there. Yeah. Broke my heart.
I was more devastated, Stiffo, at not being able to drink loads of great beer and hang out with you good folks. But I did have family commitments, which were unavoidable. I'll be there next year, though, if there is going to be a next year.
Well,
another BrewCon.
Well,
yeah, it's a bit of an if at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah.
But anyway.
I tried my best to get Lucy to let you go, mate, but it just didn't work, did it? She weren't having none of it. Yeah. So, when was it? It was last weekend. It wouldn't, and you might be listening to this in 2026. Who knows? It was on the 6th of October. No, the 7th of October. 7th of October. And it was at Hackney Brewery, which is directly over the road from Wildcard Brewery. So, Andy, fill us in. What was your vibe of the day? What did you reckon? What did you reckon the day was? What was the vibe, man?
It was like the vibe was. It was kind of buzzing. Everyone was. For me, it was quite weird actually, right? Because being a big YouTube superstar, you get people randoms coming up and giving you hugs and saying, "Oh, I loved your videos on this sort of thing," and you're just like, "Wow, this is amazing! I don't even know you." But so you get to meet people, which was so It was cool. Really, really kind of.
It's the only place ever that happens for people who do brewing videos, because like these are my people. I found them at last.
Because I walked off the tube station, and one of the guys that watches my videos was like, "Oh, you're the Raspberry Pi guy," you know. And then start chatting to him, sort of thing. So no, yeah, it's totally like the only place in the world I think that would ever happen. Yeah, so that was really cool. Just the place was buzzing, and like we were getting to meet like listeners as well that we'd never met in real life, but we'd had so many conversations over, on Zoom and all that sort of stuff. That it was like so cool just to actually finally meet people and just
and their dogs as well.
And their dogs, yeah.
Yes, we met Zanzi. And there was some dude with her as well. I can't remember his name, but Zanzi was there. Sorry, it was a him, and that was kind of all that was important. So Giles Catieu,
Gilles Belgian.
Gilles Catieu turned up with his dog, and the first thing I did was like, "You all right, mate? Where's the dog?" So yeah, it was.
And then
he
proceeded to teach him how to get the dog under control and how to sit and yield and all this sort of thing.
Yeah, and it worked straight away.
The dog went straight down. He was like, "No way, Chris."
Yeah,
we're like, "No ways, Chris, get another skill here."
Yeah, it's only 3 I've got: ability to eat pizza, ability to make terrible beer, and ability to make dogs sit and do what they're told. But yeah, it was cool. I really enjoyed it. The layout of the day was very, very, very simple. Really, there was a brewery on one side with a hot dog stand, and then there was a brewery on the other side, and then a barbecue pit not far from it.
Oh, how good was the barbecue pit?
That's great.
It was very good.
Did you guys have the oh God, what was it? Was it the beef short rib sandwich? No, Tricky had the beef short rib. Andy had the steak sandwich, which was bigger than his head.
Yeah, that's insane.
It was massive.
It was a wee bit chewy, but I actually really enjoyed it.
There was a confit duck. The confit duck sandwich was legit. That was beautiful. That didn't last long. But yeah, and the beer was phenomenal. The first beer that I had was the table beer from Hackney.
Bump.
I can't remember what it was called.
I think it's called Bump, Chris, yeah.
And I came out, and I was really shoving the pint glass in everybody's face, going, "Taste this, taste this, taste this." And it was not a 3% beer. It did not feel or taste like a 3% beer. It was absolutely superb. And then Rob turns up and starts shoving 6% West Coast in my face. He's like, "You've got to try this. This is phenomenal." And it was amazing. And then I got him back by shoving some Omnipol on Noah in his hand.
You did that to me as well.
I did. You deserved it, though.
Oh.
And hearing Rob wax lyrical about Noah, which was, I mean, you tell him, Rob, what was it like?
It's an absolutely delicious beer. I think that I first tried that sort of style of beer when London Craft Beer Festival was the first ever beer festival that I'd been to where you could actually speak to the brewers of the beer. I guess it must have been back in probably 2015, I think it was. And it was actually in oval space at Bethnal Green, which was a fantastic venue. But that was it was about the first time that I tried that sort of massive stout style of beer, and it was absolutely delicious. And then the whole chain from that, which was Yellow Belly, and then the barrel aged Yellow Belly, and their whole get together with Buxton and some of the beers that they've done has just been an amazing story from what is now sort of back in the day.
Bring back Yellow Belly.
But yeah, an absolutely delicious beer.
Oh, Yellow Belly, the business.
Yeah.
It was the business. Wow.
Oh, look at that.
No.
Look at that. You can't see this if you're listening to the audio, so you're going to have to go to YouTube and watch it. Stiffo's showing us a picture of his lunch.
No, not my lunch.
Sexy picture. It's a very
isn't my
sexy
lunch.
sandwich.
Whose lunch was it?
This is Reiki's lunch.
That's what he's eating now. Somebody ban him from the chat.
Live food updates as well now. Wow.
Oh my God.
Just keeps
and
coming.
Beer.
And beer.
And more beer. Because you can't go anywhere without beer these days.
He's missing out.
No, it was superb. the one thing that I really enjoyed was watching Tricky. Right, it's kind of a mukbang kind of thing. If you don't know what mukbang is, search it on YouTube. MUKBANG. Right, just watching Tricky's face as the first bite of the beef short rib went into his gob, and just seeing his eyes mellow like a puppy that's just been given a fresh bone. It looked amazing, but I gotta say that pork that I had, that was good. That was really good.
All of the stuff off the barbecue trailer looked good, to be fair. I don't think
it was pretty cool.
With any of it.
Also, the really weird thing for me was when I went into Wildcard, and I'm not a huge fan of Wildcard beers. I'll put it out there. I'm not a huge fan.
They were good,
but there was me and Luke stood at the bar. Some bloke pushed in, didn't like that. I'm from up north. We respect queues. And I was talking to Luke and I just went, so what we having? And he just went, look at the far right. They had Paulana on tap. What am I going to get? I'll have a pint of Paulana. Cheers, mate.
Well, I went up to the bar with Gilles and one of the beers was called Lovely Dog. So I was like, well, we've got to have that now, haven't we? That's by default.
That was good as well, wasn't it, Tricky?
It
was really nice, actually. It was a Nelson Pale Ale, wasn't it, I think? But yeah, that was decent.
We went to the tasting with Brett, myself, and Graham, and they were giving out, they had this Imperial Stout in the bottle. It was all bottle conditioned sort of thing, and it was like Jaeger was saying how it was like it was like really simple, like nothing overly complex, but it was just so beautiful. Like it was just it was so rich. That sort of it's almost like a kind of a red wine type, real decadent type Imperial Stout. So no, we really enjoyed that as well. It's good. I was really surprised at how good Wildcard was.
I wasn't massive. I've never been massively impressed by any of their beers, I'll be honest. But it'd be a weird world if we were all the same, wouldn't it? You know what I mean? It'd be a shitty world, in fact, to be fair. The layout, literally 2 breweries, the other side of a road, loads of food. It was great. Awesome. Loads of people there to talk to. And weirdly enough, absolutely fantastic weather. Yeah. I ended up with a sunburnt ball patch. You're muted, Joe.
The other thing to mention on that estate, I mean, you've got loads of breweries surrounding you, right? But at the bottom of the estate is a winery called Renegade Wines. We might have disappeared off for a little bit and had a cheeky glass of wine down there, didn't we?
Just the one.
Yeah, we did. It's lovely. It's just good.
Actually, the whole area is an absolute beer and food destination now.
Yeah.
So you could easily lose a Saturday there, just going from brewery to brewery, from food stall to food stall, and then finish off the evening at Exhale for a bit of raving. So it's just absolutely fantastic.
Steve Davis
really,
DJ, right?
Really, really good.
Yeah, absolutely. Every day.
There's a reason why they call it Autumn Stowe, Rob.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got it. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's a proper destination.
I've already said it in the chat, but that Beer Bores California IPA collaboration they've done with Hackney was the absolute beer of the day for me. And I know, Rob, you really enjoyed it as well. It was wonderful. Beer Bores, for anyone that doesn't know, is one of the London homebrew groups, and they're really active, really good, an engaged crowd, and that beer was amazing. I can't remember who I was chatting to. I was a little bit drunk probably by this point, but I was going around like, I need the recipe for this. And I was chatting to someone and they said, yeah, we had to pare the recipe down because it was already like the original recipe had even more like hop profile in it, which would have just been bonkers because it was off the chart, wouldn't it, Rob?
Yeah, I absolutely loved it. It's got that resinous pininess to it. But it's funny that you touched on that about it was a homebrew recipe that obviously John had to make as a commercial success.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. And going back to the competition that we did with Andy recently, where part of the deal with the competition was that it was going to have to be a commercially viable beer. And you realise like what we're doing at home, where we don't have to worry about it. it's just a total difference between what's commercially viable and the amount of hops that we throw into beer generally as homebrewers.
That was the thing with Boogie Van.
It's a subtly different, but very different purpose, isn't it? You're brewing for yourself, as opposed to commercial brewers brewing to pay the bills and put food on the table, right?
Well, you've got to remember, that we might be paying, let's say, £6 a can. Wholesale, the brewery is selling that at maybe £2.50 a can. Yeah. And there's all those different layers of margin that need to be made within there, and and duty, obviously. It's a tough old gig, really tough.
This is why, if you can, sorry, Andy, this is why, if you can, you should always buy direct from the brewery.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. But Boogie Van, so I was actually watching your, you did a video on Boogie Van, and it was like the amount of hops that were in that was like half a kilo.
I know.
I think. And I'm just like, how is that commercially viable?
But actually,
did you try it there?
No, Andy, I didn't. Sorry, but
that was a good beer as well. To be fair.
It's good beer. Quality beer.
Andy, that's kind of leads us on a little bit further, because part of what we've been doing with some of the commercial breweries is, they have to make their ingredients go as far as possible. So getting some of the hints and tricks from them about how to get the biggest bang for your buck on using the ingredients has been one of the biggest eye openers for us. And actually, Boogie Van and what he does to make the most of those hops in that beer is a really interesting thing, with bubbling up the CO2, pushing the hops suspension back into it's actually really interesting.
And actually, I don't want to kind of go too far on this, but something that we've spoken to a couple of people about recently is factoring in hop creep into your recipes. So actually factoring in the extra attenuation that you get. And when you start thinking like that as a home brewer, well, you might actually be in a position where you get a stronger beer, or you don't need to use quite as much malt, because you're allowing for that process to take place. So, these are the sort of the hints and tips that we're finding with more and more breweries that we're working with. And that helps all of us, right? That helps the community learn more.
Absolutely. That'd be why Tricky, when he tries to brew a low ABV beer, it always ends up at like 5.5%.
It has been known. It has been known. I don't do well if I try and aim anything below 4%. It will invariably end up about 5%. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's worse problems to have, to be fair.
Guys, I was not at BrewCon. We've already established that, and I'm feeling a little bit sore about it still. But come on, tell me a little bit about what were the highlights. What was really great about BrewCon? Because I want to know.
Well, I think for me and Andy, probably I won't speak for you, Andy, but we were both doing it at the same time, but going around and talking to the speakers and doing our own little interviews with them, and actually realising that they were all really cool and nice and happy to talk to us and get involved with that, and it wasn't as difficult to make that happen as I thought maybe it would be.
We were like Johnny and Brad going about interviewing them all.
We were like the Wish version of Johnny and Brad, yeah. So that was kind of the highlight for me. As far as sort of like things that we learnt, I mean, Jamil's thing at the beginning was all about zinc and how important that was, and that was something that was kind of totally new to me. And I imagine Rob's already ordering in industrial size containers of zinc, so he can start mixing up that.
Rob, what you should
making up that solution.
Yeah, sell the zinc water. That's it. That's who
I'll just take it off the shelf at work.
But
yeah,
for myself,
did you have anything else for that, Andy?
Oh, it was like, what was the one? I like Sean when he was from Siren, and he was telling us like how they don't put any wheat or oats or anything like that in that Citra Mosaic beer that they made for the it was all the different breweries. Time hops, well done. Yeah, and it was like they use flour malted barley instead. And I'm just like, what? Under modified malt to get the body and everything into their beers. I thought that was like, I need to investigate.
That was all off of the back of the information from John Kimmich. Is that the guy?
Right.
Yeah,
John
I think
Kimmich.
so.
Yeah. So that was really cool. I like that.
Yeah, weirdly enough, I was doing my usual thing of reading research papers, and there was a really cool one that I read. It was from 2018, where they were talking about the effect of using under-modified malt in what they called hoppier beer styles, which in 2018 is probably 3 grams per liter or something.
Yeah.
But it was really interesting to see the different effects that it has based upon the level of modification of the actual malt when it goes into the beer. And to hear somebody from a brewery like Siren, who I incidentally didn't realize the guy was South African. I didn't. Yeah, not a clue. Massive beard though, massive beard. Impressive beard.
Pretty hard to miss, Chris, given the accent.
Well, given the fact that I've heard him speak twice, and the first time I heard him speak, he was mumbling. Yeah. But the whole kind of the way that he was talking about it, and hearing Siren, a massive brewery, talk about using the under-modified stuff in order to change the beer, just reiterates my theory that there is literally an infinite number of possibilities of beers that you can make based upon all of these different processes that we have. We could brew every single day, 3 batches a day for the rest of our lives, and never come close to even scratching the surface of the possibilities of beer.
This is why collabs are so powerful.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm just going to jump in and say my highlight of the day was, honestly, it was that low ABV, that table beer from Hackney Brewery. I think I ended up having 4 pints of that through the day at just various different points. The flavor that they got into that beer was amazing. It was so good. And it wasn't even stupidly malty on the back end, which the lower ABV stuff can be.
It was
superb.
Yeah, it was very drinkable. Actually, you'd got me the Impy as well. And after the Impy, I went, I need something a bit more sessionable. And I seen that one, and I'm like, I'm all over that.
It was gorgeous. It was really nice.
It was really good. Yeah.
Yeah. I'd like to say another highlight was the hot dog van, but it really wasn't, because I paid £7 for a sausage and a couple of pickles.
Do you know that curryverse was definitely the biggest disappointment of the day, wasn't it?
It was. It wasn't even in a frigging bun.
Would any use at the Utopian? The Utopian presentation they did, and
No.
near the end or something, they put Kvike Lager is like kissing your sister. It just doesn't count. I was like, yes.
Yeah, me and Andy enjoyed that bit, didn't we?
Yeah.
Just flash that one up on the screen every time Chris mentions Quake and a lager in future.
It just goes to show.
Yeah, he had it on one of the slides as a quote at the bottom.
Absolutely.
It was brilliant.
That's brilliant.
It just goes to show that even pro brewers sometimes just don't have a fucking clue.
Nah, you will see it.
Oh, he's got another one. What's this?
Oh, you're going to enjoy that, Steve.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how you pronounce it, so I don't want to shame myself, but it's the lower ABV canned version of Provision from Burning Sky.
Nice. I have to say, whilst we're on the subject of beers that we're drinking, the double dipped coconut macaroon chocolate stout from Vocation, is incredibly nice. I'm going slower on this one than I was on the espresso martini stout because this is so tasty. It literally is a chocolate macaroon.
They do, don't they, Chris?
Well, we had Gary on, didn't we?
Yeah.
And he was talking about them, and yeah, that is a cracking beer. It's really nice.
I'm just drinking Old Faithful at the moment.
Traxon, I even said that earlier.
Can't go wrong.
Yeah, is that your version or the one from the brewery?
Well, I'm not faking the cans, but
I don't know.
I'm not taking my clone efforts quite to that level yet, but
recanning.
Yeah.
Right. So. This is what I've got.
Cloud's Rest.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, hang on. Hold that still. Hold up a bit. Other way. There you go.
I've got to say, I do think like Burnt Mill's can art is one of my favourites.
Meridian and Idaho.
Love all that.
Yeah.
Photographic
well, it's cashmere as well.
Yeah.
And I just want to. Sorry, excuse me. I'm reaching over
you.
You
may drink some of my beer.
Cashmere. I don't know how much cashmere it's got in it, but coconut sometimes in cashmere can be like overpowering.
It's not at all overpowering. Well, it's not for me anyway. I really like it. It's the first time I've had it.
I had a can of that night before last, Joe, and it is really good. I love the cashmere presence in it. It's not too much.
Yeah,
it's just right.
It's really nice, actually.
I had cashmere in a stout when I was in the States, and it actually tasted like a coconut stout. It was, it's like that. It was that much, but that is that's got pineapple coming through as well. That's a really good beer.
You barely get the coconut in it at all. It's just nice in the background. Subtle.
Good beer.
It's good.
The thing that I like about cashmere when you put it in a beer, especially in a paler beer, is that almost creamy smoothness that just comes into absolutely everything. It's almost like Sabro in that effect, but it's not quite as. And I'll quote Luke Stevens: "It doesn't taste like mint." You get that wonderful smoothness, that real kind of tasty, almost like wheat in the way that it gives body to the beer or perceived body to the beer. It's a stunning hop that is underutilized, if you ask me.
Yeah, it's a really, really nice beer. Yeah, definitely.
And you're loving the fact that they're all gluten reduced, aren't you?
Oh, yes. Yep. The gin's having a rest for a while.
Well, this is an important thing for us to mention, actually. I'm going to blow a little bit of smoke up your ass. I've mentioned this a few times. When it comes to brewing beers for people who are gluten intolerant or something like that, you don't need to go very far in order to get the stuff to do it. You really don't. And like I said to Robert when we were at BrewCon, I said, you've made one of my wife's mates very, very happy in that she's celiac, and I can now make her I make a rice lager for her, and it's hopped pretty well, and it tastes lovely, and it comes out wonderfully clear because I use that clarity stuff that you guys sell, MBS Clarity.
Yeah.
And it absolutely mind-blowing that a single enzyme dosed at the right point can have that much of an effect on a beer to remove what is essentially an immune response, and it does it so well. It's phenomenal. I don't care what anybody says. That to me is probably my additive of the decade.
Is there a flavour difference?
No, absolutely zero.
There's nothing.
Yeah, nothing at all.
Not a thing.
And the funny thing with that product is it wasn't actually designed to reduce the gluten in beer at all. It was designed to make cold beer clear. So it came out a long while back, and like I say, it was to
specifically for chill haze. Then was it? Or
specifically for chill haze.
Okay.
And then they found out that one of the side effects of it was massively reducing the gluten in the beer. And I think that's probably it's now used for reducing gluten more than it's used for chill haze. But yeah, I mean, what a great product. And it doesn't matter if you're brewing all grain lager or all grain anything or a beer kit. So you don't have to use gluten ingredients. You can be using standard ingredients and dosing it with the clarity, and you're there. It's a really good product.
So not wanting to blow the surprise for the video coming up, but I imagine there might have been some gluten-related stuff from the burnt mill video. Bearing in mind, Sophie is gluten intolerant as well. Is that correct? Am I making that up?
You're not making it up, but we don't want to blow cover.
Yeah.
Right?
No.
We've got to leave a few things for people to...
Right.
But there might be some more information for people to get their teeth into on that front.
Tricky, edit this out of the audio version, right?
It's fine, we haven't said anything, but, you know.
So this is why we get them on, so we can get all the information out of them.
But it is... there's so many people these days, and weirdly enough, I was reading an article, this may actually interest some of you. I was reading an article which said that the fact that there's so many people who are becoming intolerant to gluten, whether it's just feeling a bit bloated or literally full-blown celiacs, may have something to do with the amount of Roundup being used on crops whilst they're being grown. It might be an effect of glyphosate. Maybe. That's the current theory. It's not been proven one way or the other, but that is one of the things that they're talking about at the moment, which for me, as a chemist, is like, how's that happening? That's where my brain goes to immediately. But it wouldn't surprise me.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty cool as well. We've had a report back from Gilles, who said that he's really happy to report that his dog had the stomach to take the sausages that I bought it.
Did you send them sausages, Chris?
I went over to the burger van. I want 2 sausages uncooked, and I want them right now. And he charged me $5.
I remember that.
I love dogs.
Outrageous.
That's the most expensive meal that dog's ever had, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Have you bought dog food recently?
Well, fair point.
Yeah, it was. To be fair, it's a gorgeous dog, and oh shit, and yeah, it was something that needed to be done. So yeah. Okay, let's move on. And this is where Stiffo and Joe and Rob, you guys can definitely jump in on this one, because Owen needs educating. Okay, he's sitting there vaping and eating his Polish sausage. Did anyone learn anything exciting that we can share with our listeners? Are there any golden nuggets that we can use to improve people's brewing from BrewCon? Go, all of you, just go. If you got something to say, put your hand up and say it.
Me.
Go on then.
Wow. Okay, so I will actually, and I think that part of it is speaking to people about their successes. So, you know, we've all had homebrew mishaps which have resulted in beers that haven't really been as much as we thought they were going to be in the brewing process. However, we've also had real successes with either ingredients or technique, and I think that speaking to other brewers about their successes is something that you can really really gain from as a home brewer. And then after the event, the winning recipes, which are normally online somewhere. You can normally get hold of the winning recipes, such as Rich's, the Smells Lageries, that sort of thing. You can actually learn from the recipe and realize why it won. So I think that's something that is a really good bit of advice, talking to other brewers that are successful. And actually at events like BrewCon, it gives you and like homebrew clubs, gives you a real opportunity to be able to do that.
Yeah, cool. We found that when we've been to GBBF and other events as well, haven't we? Just that face-to-face time that we get with homebrewers and talking about their experiences, the good bits, the bad bits, the elements that we might be able to help them with equipment or things like clarity for the gluten is invaluable.
Yeah. So I think that's a real big win from an event such as BrewCon.
Cool.
And there's something that there's a little project that we're looking at as well going into the future with we're doing lots of brew with us with breweries, but we're looking at actually going into people's homes and brewing with some of the homebrewers and learning about
their particular system.
Systems, what they're doing, how they're doing everything, learning from them as to what we might be able to put into the market that they use, the hacks, the tricks, the little nuances that work for them, and also them learning, getting things from us, or us being able to say, actually, we've got this that might help you do that. And, so it's, from our perspective, it's getting in front of the brewers, the professionals, getting in front of the home brewers, and tying both sets of people together to
put concisely as possible, sharing secret sauce.
Sharing secret sauce.
I'm a little bit disgusted by that sentence, but we'll go with it.
Sharing secret sauce.
Yeah, exactly. One thing I will say about what you've just said is Andy and me, based on our knowledge of craft beer pie, might be a decent place to start, because it is groundbreakingly good when it comes to building your own sort of single vessel or even 3-vessel system. And with the ferment pie part of it as well, Andy, that'd be a really good one to go down. I mean, you can talk to Andy about the electronic. He's the electronic engineer, but yeah, it is a fantastic system, and I wish there was some way that you could kind of pull together all the parts to be able to build a system and just stick it up on your website, because I do genuinely believe that there are a lot of people who aren't utilizing craft beer pie properly, or aren't even utilizing it at all, where it would make a massive difference to the way in which they brew and the ability to save time. Because we're all about, the hints and the tips and the tricks and the doing this differently to make this happen. And, like Stiffo said at the start, helping people brew the best beer that they can. And if you're on a time crunch, being able to start your brewery at a certain time, control it from your bed, which both me and Andy can do, and say, right, I want my sparge to be I want my strike water to be at temperature in 45 minutes. I'll start it now, then have a shower, then give the kids breakfast, then walk out knowing all I've got to do now is mash in.
Yeah, but it's not just that. So you can brew it, you can mash and all that. Then you can go back in the house and play with the kids. And then you just get up your phone, you go, oh, we've got 10 minutes left, sort of thing. And then you know when to come back in. And it gives you more time with your family rather than taking you away.
Andy, Chris, I'd really be up for learning more about that system with you. I'm a little bit of a tech geek.
No,
I've got
no.
Before I did stuff for Malt Miller, I was involved in tech a little bit, not heavily, but I've got a bit of a passion for stuff. I'm into home automation, and I've got, if anybody knows what Homebridge is, I've got Homebridge running for my home kit set up at home. So I'd be really interested in learning more about that. Something that I think personally, my home brewery I use for Grainfather stuff because it gives me a lot of that. Now that maybe isn't accessible or correct for everybody. So finding another system that can work in a way that that we can understand and help more people learn from, I'd be
because
well up for learning about that.
You guys sell all the big pots, right? So an 80-litre brew pot, say the SS BrewTech one, then it's like, how do I actually get power to this thing and control it? Yeah, because it's all well using an Inkbird up to a certain point, maybe a 5-gallon batch, but once you go above that kind of 2.4 kilowatts, then you're in a whole different world then. So that's when these sort of systems can really come in.
There's a reason why I have 8mm cable running from the house to my shed.
Yeah.
And it's why, I don't know if you can see it actually. I can't pull it out far enough. So you see this little extension cable? Yeah, that little extension cable cost me 135 quid because it's 8mm cable, right? And it runs from a commando socket at the back of my house, and it runs up to my shed to power my brewery, which runs from a craft beer pie box which is up there. It's all for me about just being able to set up, go and deal with the kids, come back from dealing with the kids, do some malt additions, give it a stir, set the recirculation going, go back to dealing with the kids, and have it on my phone as a web page that I can see and do everything that I want to do from that. It was, Also, I've got to draw. I don't know if Joe's had this one.
No, I haven't. No.
Yeah.
No.
I don't know how good your beer is, but I can guarantee you this one's on a par, if not better. Owen's nodding his head because he's had this one a few times. It's Cloud Chamber by Burnt Mill, Citra, Talus, and HBC 586. This is special. This is a special beer.
Nice.
That HBC 586. So there's a guy that works at Burnt Mill called Rob. He's the commercial manager, business manager. Anyway, it takes care of a huge amount of the kind of business side of things for them and working on the development and growth of their business. That HBC is his favorite hop. That's why it's in as many beers as possible with them.
Yeah.
When you're the one that holds the purse strings on what gets bought, I guess you get to choose what hops go in the beer. Oh look, we bought a ton of HBC 586. Sorry guys.
We were talking to Robbie about that.
Yeah.
It's surprising that hasn't actually been named yet because it's in so many beers right now. That 586, it's surely going to be.
It's also in this one.
Yeah.
Got the same one in this one. So yeah, it's a very good beer.
What do you guys get from that hop? Because it's all kind of like tropical citrus fruit juice for me, I think.
Tropical fruit, really. Yeah.
I don't know where you guys shop.
I think.
Sorry, I don't know where you guys shop.
Sorry.
I shop at Sainsbury's, obviously, and they do a 2 litre. Obviously, it's the nearest one to me, and I talk about Sainsbury's all the time. So they do a 2 litre plastic, like a milk carton, you know, that you get milk in, but it's full of this tropical fruit juice. This beer tastes like that carton, just with a small amount of alcohol added. It's gorgeous. Sorry, Rob, go on, I interrupted you.
Brilliant.
It'd be nice to do a smash beer with it, to be fair.
Yeah, no,
find out
really good.
To find out exactly what it's about.
Oh, wait there, Tricky. Didn't you come away with quite a chunk of that hop from Robbie?
I had quite a lot of different numbered hops that Robbie gave me, so there's going to be a few hop tester beers that are on that night.
Sean,
nice.
when you were interviewing Sean and you were talking about that, some sort of crazy... The one, that sparkly one you got, was that the one Sean was talking about from New Zealand?
Superdelic.
Was that
Yeah.
Superdelic.
Yeah. How far away from getting that in are we, Rob, do you think?
We've got it in our cold store at the moment.
You've already got it? Awesome.
What is it?
Yeah.
New Zealand hop.
Superdelic. New Zealand, yeah. Actually, it arrived, I think, probably Thursday this week.
Can you tell us
New Zealand
anything?
hops arrived, so yeah. Actually, not yet, no, because we haven't had a chance to brew with it. So I've got a pack on my desk at work that I ripped open, like a little 100-gram sample pack that I ripped open, and we're all over it so far for the aroma. It's given an awful lot of aroma, but can't wait to brew with it.
It smells divine, doesn't it? It's like pungent, overripe tropical fruit and citrus all in one. But like Rob said, once we've had a chance to brew with it, we'll understand it in more detail. But aroma-wise, it's off the chart.
Yeah, Robbie gave me a bag of it at the Yakima Chief stall, and he was very surreptitious about it. It was almost like he was like, "Yeah, don't tell anyone about this. This is the special stuff."
Check out the bag of
that over, So it seems
funny enough, Tricky. It arrived with Pacific Sunrise as well.
Oh, did it?
I think you can keep that.
I hope that was a different batch to the one I got, anyway. But yeah,
from what I've read, right. So Tricky went on and he said that he wasn't exactly overwhelmed with Pacific Sunrise. Now, from what I've been reading, because obviously I've got fam over in New Zealand, and I was talking to a couple of guys on a homebrew forum from New Zealand, and what they were saying was it's best used as a scaffolding hop.
Well, that might explain why it didn't really do much on its own then. If it was
apparently, I got to try it as well because I stayed.
Yeah, and Andy knows.
Yeah, and it was just like,
meh.
Yeah.
But can you imagine it with something like big and fruity, like, I don't know, 586 or maybe Palace or something like that?
Put that with anything else, it'll just disappear. It's pointless.
But would it work as a scaffold? Because that's what we've talked about previously.
Well, like I said in the video, it was only a one-off shot at it, so I don't know.
And it was only 100 grams.
It's not really fair to judge it off of that.
It's
alone,
like a Zaka, maybe, where you just need to put lots of it in.
Yeah, and it could be a thing with the, like survivables and all the rest of it, that it might function really well in the dry hop if I'd put that whole 100 grams in there rather than spreading it through the different boil additions and whatnot. So, there's so many variables, isn't there, that you can't really just go, oh, well, write that one off forever. But
there's a near infinite number of variables.
Yeah. So, but I mean, the only thing I would say is there was quite a few people from New Zealand sort of saying they hadn't heard of it either. So I was a bit, that was a bit like, okay. So we'll see. But I mean, go on, Rob.
I've not looked into the ancestry of it. Most New Zealand hops are grown from European noble hops, because the terroir in New Zealand, they come out massively supercharged compared with when they're grown in Germany. So I don't know what it's
because like Motueka is basically just SARS, isn't it? That's just planted in New Zealand and then it turns into like lime juice. So
this amazing, it's totally different. So I wonder what it's actually what its parentage is. It would be interesting to find out.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if that's got anything to do with the nuclear tests that were done.
No.
Like the Australian National ANC sugars, Australian National College, they had the sugars which came from a nuclear test, which you used.
I mean, it's an interesting theory, Chris, but
why do all New Zealand hops taste of fucking lime? That's what I want to know. We need to get somebody on to tell us why this happens, because they all do.
Why do all the British hops taste of
twigs?
Twigs, yeah.
Shed floor, yeah. Good question.
I think you're being you're making sweeping statements here.
Yeah,
good pun, Stefo. Well done.
Nelson doesn't taste like lime, does it?
No, that's true. Nelson's all about the gooseberry and the grapes, right? So,
how close to a lime is a gooseberry?
Not that close.
No, not that close at all. No, it's not. One's a berry, the other is a citrus fruit.
Okay, flavour-wise, Stiffo, how close are they? They're both sharp. They both have a citrus character.
No,
that's all I'm saying.
Sorry, I'm
wrong.
Fundamentally digging my heels in and disagreeing.
Fundamentally wrong. Fundamentally wrong. Look, it's one of those things. I get lime from every single fucking New Zealand hop I've ever used, with the exception of Nelson. But I think it's a wonderful thing, and I would like to explore it more. Just trying to get anybody from a New Zealand hop company to reply to an email is an exercise in bloody futility.
That was one thing we were talking to Sean from Siren about, wasn't it, Andy? Where he was talking about possible avenues to go down with a time hop style project. And he seemed very keen on the idea of doing something related to like New Zealand hops and exploring the different, different types and where those come from, the characteristics of the various New Zealand hops in some way. Obviously, it wasn't anywhere near a fully formed idea at that point, but it seemed like he was quite keen on that, didn't it, Andy? I think he's obviously a fan of New Zealand hops as well.
Because I think at the minute they're doing the yeast experiments, aren't they? He was saying. So it was, what did they call it? I can't remember, but there was some sort of
Yeah, I'm not sure what the name was for that.
Because they were so used to using the same yeasts all the time, and then they started experimenting, and so they've got this series in can or whatever that they're doing that's different yeasts that they've been trying.
Sounds interesting.
Yeah, see if you watch our video tomorrow.
It's almost like I've already seen it. No, I do find yeast quite interesting. I really do, and I'm a weird guy when it comes to that. But I do genuinely find them quite interesting. One of the things that stuck out to me was just going back a couple of steps, was from what I've heard of Jamil's kind of talk, was about the use of trace metals, so specifically your zincs and stuff like that, and the massive effect that it has. And I'm kind of wondering how this is a huge surprise to people, because there seems to be a lot of people at BrewCon who were walking around going, "Oh, this is really surprising. I didn't realize this has happened." And I'm like, have you never read anything about trace metals and cofactors for enzymes and specific pathways controlled by this?
No.
Have none of you ever done any fucking biochemistry?
No,
that's your job.
It's
I'm going to hijack this for a moment, if that's all right. So Jamil's obviously hugely knowledgeable, but so we're involved with the book that he and Andy are writing. In fact, we're going to be involved quite a bit, just because they're going to be working on some recipes. And as with the previous book that Andy wrote, we're going to have the recipes available on Maltmiller,
yes.
and we're going to be doing a few other things with it as well. I'm not going to go into too much detail because I don't want to give anything away, but I think between what Andy and Jamil are aiming at is having a book that encompasses both the beginner and all the way through to, maybe not quite as involved as the words you were just saying, Chris, that I don't understand. But it's going to be a bit of a homebrewing compendium for the modern era.
That's what we need.
Yeah, dare I say it? This could be, next level homebrew Bible type stuff.
A game changer.
Yeah. And
I think that's somewhere, a lot of homebrew books, you often have that very basic section of this is how you brew, blah blah blah, and for most all grain brewers you just skip straight through that and you go straight to the recipe section, book? Don't you?
Yeah.
So if there's something that's going really more in depth and talking about the sort of things that Jamil was talking about, then that would be much more interesting, I think.
Well, I think they've got to try and find a balance, right? Because they need to be able to appeal to the novice, the person that's going to. Well, no, because we've got to make sure that it's an accessible hobby, right? We've got to make sure that someone that. But this is a book.
No, I mean, there's other books for that. So if you're a novice, it's start with this book, and then it's now you're more advanced. Was it the new IPA book, right? But is it Scott Yanish? That was amazing, so all that good detail. And if Andy and Jamil can do something like that with new techniques, new modern homebrewing techniques, I'll be all over that.
Some of the stuff that we're going to be helping them with is going to be trying to make sure that there's accessible content in there for the newer homebrewer as well as the more advanced. So I think it's going to be an awesome book. And just hearing about potentially some of the people they're going to be working with for the recipes, it's going to be amazing.
Here's a question for you, right?
Special.
So your customers now, right? Are you finding that you're getting a lot of newer customers that are maybe at that sort of beginning sort of stage?
Yeah,
it's quite a significant part. Yeah.
So I spent so we sometimes dip in and out of some of the customer support type stuff, whether it's answering questions on Facebook or YouTube or people that ring into us. Rob, myself will always be happy to answer the phone if it's busy and that kind of stuff. And I spent 20 minutes on the phone with a customer the other day that this was his third all grain brew, and he'd bought our light bulb recipe kit, and it was the first time he'd done anything that involved a reasonable amount of hops, and not obviously trying to make sure you don't get oxygen into the beer and that kind of stuff. And do you know what? I love that. I love spending time with talking to people about that kind of stuff, because if those sort of resources were available for more people when they were starting, well, I was really lucky. I had Rob and I had the guys on BrewTube and all that kind of stuff, but not everybody's necessarily found those resources yet. and
exactly.
Whatever we can do to help is
go for it.
The interesting part of it is actually, so some of the more basic parts of the book are going to be done in slightly different way. So there's going to be video content that's involved in this. So when they start talking about just taking gravity readings for example, so some books might go into a whole chapter about how to take gravity readings and the equipment needed to do that. I think what they're trying to do with this is, right, this is you're going to need to learn how to take gravity readings. If you want to do it, follow this QR code and there's a video about it.
Oh, okay.
So it's a bit of a different way of doing the book, which means they can cram more into it. It will be available to a wider audience.
Massively.
But I massively take on your point, Andy, about it's got to, there's so many people that are advanced all grain brewers now that it needs to appeal to them. It needs to appeal to them. And I think there's obviously commercial constraints to a certain state, which they're going to have to fall in line to. But yeah, they're treading a fine line between making it a accessible book, but keeping it focused for people that really want to push the hobby forward, which is a really interesting thing for us.
But that's where some of these videos are going to really work. Sorry for jumping in. That's where these videos are going to work, because you can go into detail learning by watching these videos if you need to. If you don't,
you skip on.
You just skip on. Yeah, it's there and it's accessible, so it will show people that maybe are quite good brewers but don't know some specific techniques for doing things. Show them the shortcuts by just QR coding the video, watching it on YouTube. But it's not something you need to read through or flick through in the book. So I think it will cover a real broad spectrum of brewers.
Do you think it's just Andy bringing Jamil down from the university textbook sort of level into a more manageable, readable sort of book, if in that sense, that Andy's really good at doing?
I think that's their skill between the pair of them. Actually, when we sat down with them on the morning of BrewCon and discussed, this is the first time we've discussed it with both of them together. I've discussed it with them individually, but discussing with them both together, it's a real tight line that they're running on the content of the book. It's going to be really interesting. And yes, I think that you're right in what you say, Andy, about kind of it doesn't want to be that. It doesn't want to be a paper, on homebrewing.
It does. It does.
Yeast book. Well,
well, it does for you, Chris. But that's for such a niche of the market,
But I think that's where the balance is going to come in with how it's going to be put together. It is going to be a book that you can pick up and read, but it is also going to be a modern virtual book that you can go to YouTube and learn things if you need to, or you want to, or you're interested in. I think the combination of how it's going to evolve, and it is still a work in progress.
Yeah, definitely.
And we're working quite closely with them on this. The end result, I think, will cover a broad spectrum of people, and it's going to work.
That comment right there from Martin, who says he likes the idea of QR codes as he has dyslexia, and he'd rather watch a video than read a book. I fully, completely, totally understand why it is that they're doing it this way. Not only does it allow you to put more content in, it appeals to a much wider audience as well. There are people, and everybody knows this. I'm fucking not spouting something new, but I'm also a teacher. Okay, I've qualified as a teacher. And the bottom line is, nobody learns the same way. Tricky's a teacher allegedly, but he teaches music. So the main thing is that nobody learns the same way. Okay, there are different people who do it different ways. You can have two people from the same family. I have to do it to learn it. My wife can sit down and read a book and she can learn it. Okay, And it's different people, and to have the QR codes to give the videos, the different levels, watch this video on YouTube if you want to learn this bit, do this if you want to do that. That's a really good way to do a book. And for me, it's a more appropriate utilization of the technology that we have within our grasp immediately, rather than simply saying, sit down and read a wall of text.
Yeah.
And also, video is more effective to work out why there's a badger in your fermenter. That's a fairly important thing to work out, Yeah, it's a wonderful thing. And I think it'll be a really good way to bridge the gap between those people like me who I prefer scientific papers because I can read them. Okay, that's kind of my thing. Other people may prefer the My First Brewery book, the sort of, the Penguin books, My First Brewery. But there are a lot of people in between. And as with everything in the world, there is a spectrum which has to be catered for, or you're missing a huge part of your audience.
Yeah. So I'm
looking forward to this book.
I think it's going to be good. Yeah, I think it's going to be good.
I'm looking forward to this. You've got to let us know as soon as it's available, preferably pre-release if you've got it in the warehouse.
It depends if you behave yourself, Chris.
I never behave myself, Joe. Come on.
Well,
actually, being able to, on a serious note, being able to feedback comments from potential customers back to both the authors, is a really good thing for us to be able to do. So that's it's good. It's a good platform.
Yeah.
Martin, I'm pretty sure the badger comment did not go over the malt miller's head. They've heard us talk about the badger before. They've also seen the bevy badger.
Yeah.
They are. Yes. It's one of those things, like QR codes are a wonderful thing. And it's not just me that's a scientific paper monkey either. Thomas H., who's in the chat, he's also a science geek just like me. He's slightly older, so he's even more of a science geek, okay? Not only does he look like Santa, not only does he live in a place which snows half of the year, he's also a science geek as well. So don't sleep on Thomas. Yeah, the Swedish chef. It's one of those things. What the hell is that?
What?
I don't know what that is, but that's horrific.
Audio's gone a bit mad.
That's nuts.
Not me.
That was nuts.
No, it's tricky. It's Stiffos.
Stiffos.
What's he done?
Yep.
What is he up to?
Come on, James. You're letting yourself down.
Pornhub off, Stiffo. Jesus.
This is the tech
Sounds
guru.
like he's sort of in Star Wars.
He's broken
something.
He's
stuck in Darth Vader's helmet from the sounds of it.
He's turned into a Star Wars droid.
Yeah, let's just leave him muted for the rest of the podcast. So,
reminds me of like C-3PO, actually.
We love you really, Stiffo. So, where can people find more information about the day, more videos and stuff like that? Please just go to our YouTube tomorrow morning at 9:00. Go on our Facebook, go on Tricky's channel, go on Andy's channel, and I believe you can go on Owen's channel too. And you can see the video that we've made, which is the interviews that we did and all the other stuff. And I want you all to appreciate the quality of the video because Andy spent a lot of time making it awesome. The audio is phenomenal, even through that gigantic face fungus that Sean had.
Hey,
you can still hear everything perfect.
Yeah.
Also, Rob, I think Stiffo might be putting in a requisition for a new set of mics. Just saying.
Yeah, mate,
we've already had DJI eyes, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
Did he get thumbs up or thumbs down?
Yeah, I think they might be on his desk on Tuesday morning.
If they work through Sean's beard, they must be good.
They worked through a lot of things. They were very cool.
There was no beard noise either. So
no beard noise. No, not at all.
It was, wow.
No, it was superb. So yeah, check out that video. Also, weirdly enough, halfway through the video, this weird paparazzi guy appears and starts taking pictures. And he's got this weird grey beard and a pair of round glasses. He looks a little bit like Harry Potter if he drank a lot of beer.
There was a drunk guy as well, constantly in the background.
Yeah,
I don't know who that was.
Kept trying to get in, sticking his tongue out and stuff.
And all that, you know.
Don't know who that was.
He was annoying, wasn't he?
Yeah. Oh, irritating bastard. Yeah.
Kept ruining Andy's carefully composited shots.
Oh,
I thought I was out of the shot when Robbie was being interviewed. I'm like sliding stuff in with long arm. It's like, oh no, it's a wide angle lens. Okay. But yeah. One of the other things that I want to quickly bring up before we actually call this one to a halt and move to an after party is we had a chat with it's Andy Patterson, isn't it? From Lalmand?
Yeah.
Andrew,
Yeah.
I was gutted. Okay. When I brew my low ABV beers, I have two go-to yeasts. I have Windsor and I have London. And of the two, Lalmand's London is the one because it's like 64% attenuation. So you can really end up with quite a low ABV beer from not that much of a high starting gravity. They're stopping making it.
Yeah, he went into detail on that, didn't he? He was sort of talking about the propagation rates of different yeasts and how it's not really viable anymore, which kind of explains, you know, I guess a lot of people sort of will ask, well, why can't we have all of the liquid yeast available as dry yeast? And
there you go.
That's pretty much the reason, because they don't all propagate as well and can't be effectively grown up to the point where they can dry them and make that process financially viable to turn, and some of them just don't like being dried either.
Tricky on that. Hopefully my audio's sorted now.
It's good,
but
it's good.
Yeah, it's much better.
The you know, when you do a viability test on liquid yeast, you're looking for 90% plus viability, right?
Yeah.
Dry yeast, actually anything above 50% is really good, because the drying process itself will naturally kill off some of the yeast cells. But those yeast cells are useful to the yeast that's trying to grow, because they can form some of the yeast nutrient that's needed. But you know, that's another thing with, you know, dry yeast. If you're drying a yeast that then, you know, maybe more of the cells die off or that don't last, then it makes it commercially less viable, right?
Mm-hmm.
I've got to be honest with you, Stiffo. I heard everything that you said, and then the back of my brain just shouted, but it's the best fucking yeast for low ABV beer. So,
have you heard of Fermentis S33?
No, I've not used that one. Is that pretty low attenuation as well?
Yeah. If you want to brew especially if you want to brew a like New England style hazy low ABV, it's fantastic. It leaves a really stable haze, and the attenuation is low on it as well, so you get good body. I can.
Do you know what strain S33 is?
No.
I mean, we've got a contact at a certain sort of yeast manufacturer. We might be able to talk to him about whether or not it's haze positive or not. We could always have a chat with Lance, couldn't we?
Just in my experience brewing with that yeast, it's a hazy boy.
Well, weirdly enough, so is Kolsch 1 apparently. So S33 is one to try. I want to put. You guys got that in stock? Just give me a nod. Have you got that one in stock? Yeah, cool. Okay, expect an order going in pretty soon. The wonderful thing is that, you know, that they may bring it back as a once a year special edition. So the 15 packs that I've currently got in stock may last a year. Just saying. They're also getting rid of, I think it was their Hefe yeast they were saying that they're getting rid of, because apparently nobody's buying it. It just doesn't sell. And the minimum batch size that they can make for that particular yeast, in fact, for all their yeast, is 2 tons.
Is that their Munich one?
Yeah, Munich, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, it's not the best dried Hefe yeast that I've ever used.
It tends to give really stupid amounts of banana.
Well,
Is that a bad thing?
It depends. If it tastes... Because banana flavouring is given by a compound called... But it's given by a compound called isoamyl acetate. And too much of it can actually have like... a very weird effect on your tongue. It can almost send your tongue numb.
I thought they had 2 versions though, or is that, do they not have a Munich and a Munich Classic or something? Or am I making that up?
I think it was the Munich one that they were definitely talking about, which is honestly, it's gutting for me because it's a good one. But yeah, they're stopping making that anyway. So yeah, just crack on, do your thing. If you want those yeast, tap up the malt miller and get like 20 packs ordered or something. Stick them in a freezer; they'll last about 8 years. They're really cool. Or slant it, yeah, that's another option. We've reached the end of our list of things to talk about, and we're over an hour and 30 minutes. We can't edit this one using AI. Damn it.
Sorry,
but yeah. Owen, you've sat there, you've been very, very quiet. Based on everything that we said, do you have any questions for us? Or does anybody in the chat have a question for us that maybe we could get Stiffo to answer, or Joe or Rob or any of us for? Anybody got any questions? I'll give you 30 seconds to think about that. Owen, any questions?
Let's talk a little bit about like the people that you met. So I know that you guys have talked about the fact that you met from Sean from Siren, you met Jamil. There may be a video dropping tomorrow at 9 a.m.
Yep.
That might talk a bit more about that. Was there anyone else that was really cool that people met and that you really enjoyed meeting, that, you know, heroes maybe, or
Liam
just
from
people who are unexpected, you know,
Yeah, I was going to say Liam, it was cool to put a name to the face to the name.
Yep, and
whatever.
Share some stories and stuff.
He's got his own little brewery as well, hasn't he?
Yeah, well, he's looking to go commercial, isn't he? Sunbear Brewing, yeah.
Sunbear Brewing, right.
I want to give a little shout out if I can. Sorry, Owen, I'm going to jump in on this one because I totally forgotten to talk about this. So, Yakima Chief, Robbie from there, he had some beers from a company up in the Lake District in Kendall. Can we just talk about their double dry hopped Phantasm spangled beer that turned up that me and Andy had, and it was absolutely amazing.
Tricky had it as well.
You had it. I don't know. I barely spoke to Tricky for the entire day.
The Quantock one. Are you talking about Quantock?
I think so.
I don't know.
I thought
it was Lakes Brewing. Was it Lakes Brewing?
I don't know. The one that they had was the SIBA competition winner that had 5.86.
Oh no! There was another one. There was another brewery that Robbie had 2 of.
Right.
Oh, right, okay.
I thought you were talking about the one they were giving out on the SIBA stand as well with the little Yakima Chief cups.
Because that one was insane.
That was the 5.86 one that was awesome.
Yeah.
I never had that.
That was the Sam Thacker Jones brew that he won the SIBA comp with.
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that was good anyway, but I don't know what the other brewery is that you're talking about then, Chris. You need to take notes.
I think it's Lakes Brewing or something. I'm going to do a quick Google. You guys talk.
Yeah, because I didn't have that one, Chris. I had the one Tricky was talking about, the SIBA one that they were giving out, and it was pure mango-y sort of juice, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, it's amazing. I mean, that was just a great example of what that hop can do on its own, and where you're like, okay, well that can definitely be a single hop.
How many kilos can I get?
Hazy. Yeah. At which point everyone rushed over to the Yakima Chiefs then and went, give us some freebies, Rob. I've got a question that maybe a little bit more sort of poignant to the actual event itself. I mean, it seemed like there was it was being made fairly clear that it's probably not going to continue in the immediate future. For the guys from the Malt Miller, do you see any kind of like way that events like that can carry on going forwards, or is there some sort of alternative to that kind of event that you might have an idea about, or maybe even be thinking about setting up yourselves? Where do we go from there?
I think I'm certainly not going to make any. Sorry, James. Let me just. Sorry, I'll just speak over you for a second. I'm certainly not going to make any secret of the fact that we've spoken about it for years, hosting some sort of event, and I don't know whether we can make it happen or not. But apart from just parking that, I think that
if Simon decides that he doesn't want to continue with him putting on BrewCon, I think that there is a really, really big opportunity for an awesome event that's club based. So there are really active clubs all over the country, and there are people that are really, really highly motivated within those clubs. Lab, for example, they've got lots of members and very, very motivated. Reading Amateur Brewers, for as another example, and I could list loads and loads more. I think that there is, if Simon doesn't want to continue with it, I think that there is a massive room for some people within those clubs to be able to get together and put something on. And I think that doing it that way would be a really, really good way forward for what we know as BrewCon.
I mean, that's exactly what. That's exactly
could be
what
really
I was.
Exciting.
Yeah, I joined Homebrewing a little bit later on than a few others. Rob, you started Homebrewing way back when, right? And the thing that I always think sounds fantastic are the events that you used to go to that were like in a field, everybody camping, and I think that kind of thing with all of these really highly motivated homebrew clubs, like the ones you've just mentioned, and obviously Bedford, Richard, having like, and I don't know how the licensing will work, and that would all need to be worked through, but having like all of the different clubs with bars pouring beers that are made by their clubs, like that kind of thing, with some music, with some awesome food, with a whole host of like barbecue stuff, and then some exhibitors as well, and some talks that kind of feature within at the right times of day. Well, that could be awesome.
That needs to be the glue.
I think we got a little glimpse of that in the past, didn't we, with the kind of club night element of the BrewCon events previously, and that obviously wasn't really a thing this year for whatever reason. But yeah, the effort that some people put into doing the club bars and everything, and it seemed like that should have been maybe a bigger element of the whole thing that could have really made, like you say, motivated everyone to really get involved and get stuck in.
I remember I think it was the third BrewCon, which was at Beavertown's brewery before they'd moved to their new site.
Mm-hmm.
And there was the tent outside, and there was just some awesome stuff going on at club night there. People that have got like their mobile bars all built up. There was jockey boxes. There was, I can't remember who it was. It might even have been Brett wandering around with like a little 5-litre keg of some nitro stout that was just bonkers off the chart good. And that's the sort of thing you want, that inspires people to go and try and brew those kind of beers. So to Rob's point, we've never made a secret that we'd love to try and do something, but we've also got all of our day-to-day stuff helping people, obviously, fulfilling their orders and making sure that they've got the stuff they need day to day to brew the beers they want at home. Whatever involvement we could have, we're completely open to, and we would always do what we can to support the community.
Could I just jump in here?
Just let me finish this one last point, Chris, or my Columbo moment. But something that's community led.
Something that's thing.
Something that's community led, something that's led by the homebrew community collectively. That's the thing that could be really inspirational and make it bigger than the sum of its parts.
So basically, what you're suggesting is a homebrew fest.
Well, yeah, funny you should say that, and I don't know whether many of you were brewing back in the day, but there was a homebrew fest. I used to go to it back in, I don't know how long ago it was now, but it was a fair distance ago, and it was a meeting. It went on for 3 or 4 years, but there was it was basically a meeting at a rugby club where there was toilet and shower facilities, and you camped on the rugby field, and a couple of people came along and put up a marquee, and then inside there was various different bars that were basically homemade bars, and people just, there wasn't too much of a schedule. People just got together and served beer and chatted for the weekend. Now, I've made that sound extraordinarily simple, because to organise that is quite difficult, and there are complications around it. But that's what happened back in the day, and it was great fun, and people really enjoyed going and learned an awful lot from it. And I think perhaps just getting back to that sort of thing could be a really exciting prospect.
Just to jump in on that one, Rob, I don't suppose you know anyone who's got any experience of like maybe being a party planner or anything, do you? Maybe someone who's got the
I might be close to one.
Maybe somebody who understands the way to organise these things, because I'll be honest with you, if we could go down the route...
Oh, who's just sat down?
Oh, hello, Joe. How are you? Maybe we could...
Chris.
Pardon?
You were warned.
I'm always... Joe, I've always been warned. The lucky thing we have is 200 miles between us, so you can't hit me just yet. For me...
You'll keep.
I mean, I'm going to say, I'm a bit taller than you. But the main thing for me is, right, if we can organise, let's say, 15, and that's a conservative number of homebrew clubs, and each homebrew club brings a couple of kegs of 3 different beers, all of a sudden, you've got one hell of a party and one hell of a way for people to share their beers. Now, I know just from the group that we're in, okay, Brewing, man, there we go. We just need some seriously hardcore 90s German techno, okay, a bouncy castle, and somebody with a fuck-off great pizza oven, and we're all sorted.
Yeah, that's true.
Right? Now, we could do this in a field. It'd be nice if there were shower facilities, but let's face it, it's not a requirement. And then we could have this whereby people, like Stiffo said, people set up a bar, bring your families, because it would be a family event there. Everybody wanders around, try the beers. There's kids running everywhere. There's football games going off. It'd be awesome to be able to have that kind of thing, as long as it was done early August, and we'd be able to get on it. Because I would be down there with my wife and my kids like an absolute ferret up a drain pipe. I really would. That'd be superb. Just having that option. And also, there's nothing to stop at that point some of the bigger breweries or some of the more big craft breweries turning up and saying, do you know what? We're going to set up a stand and we're going to have some beer. But the problem's going to be organising licensing rights for that. That's going to be the big stopper. Yeah, so, aside from that, I think that is an absolute... Fuck off, Brett. My kids are coming. You're just scared because Oscar's going to choke you out. It's one of those things where we've got all of this capability to make a true family-friendly environment to be able to enjoy the hobby that we love. And there we go.
Yeah, I'm with Brett. Sorry, the kids.
Nah, man. Oscar's got to come. He'll be trying
bringing
the
the
kids.
No way.
I think there's definitely mileage for a group of people to being able to organise that sort of thing. There are hoops and barriers to get over, absolutely without a doubt. But you've got to have a dedicated group of people with the mind that, right, we're going to make this happen, and no one's going to stop us. We just got to jump over the hoops on the route, rather than I know some of these events like but we can't do this and we can't do that. It needs a forward thinking group of people that are going to say, we can do it. We just need to jump over some fences on the way.
I'm not a big fan of jumping over hoops, but I'm bloody good at running straight through them. Just saying.
It might take that. I think it might take that.
I think if you've got a good, dedicated core team of people that are supportive and aren't gonna walk away halfway through, you've got a bit of knowledge and you've got some enthusiasm, it's all doable.
I think your earpiece has just turned off, Joe. We heard it, but we heard it through Rob's mic.
Okay. Right,
I think this is superb. I think this has definitely got some legs. And to be fair, when you organise it, let me know because I'll be there. And I'm sure the Hop Edition crew would as well. That'd be amazing. So, yeah, I agree with Andy with the message he's just sent me. I think it's time to wrap this one up because this has been superb. I would just like to say that I was absolutely right. And I'm going to pull this up. Lakes Brewing Co. Enter the Phantasm Zone. And Andy, as much as you want to sit there and claim you didn't, you stood next to me and drank that beer. And also this one as well, the West Coast IPA. We had this one as well. They were two amazing beers. And if you haven't bought them, buy 7 cans of that and only buy 5 cans of that because that was better. Okay. There you go. Superb beers.
Did you hand me it or something, Chris?
Which one was better?
The double dry hopped one. Enter the Phantasm Zone Part 1.
Did you
Lakes
hand me
Brewing
it or something? And I
did.
It and yeah. Right, okay. And
It was
good.
Absolutely brilliant. Yeah, it was. It was a really, really good beer, that one. Right. Let's sack this one off. Guys, if you're willing to stick around for half an hour, I'm sure there's going to be some questions. Probably people trying to scoop some sort of deal for, money off stuff. But Joe's here, so she's quite happy to tell them to bollocks.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do is, guys, please don't leave this window until your video is finished uploading. That's all I'm going to say. Guys, episode 78, unless anyone else has got anything to say.
No,
I'm jumping the gun here.
I'm done.
We all done?
Yeah.
We all done. Okay, so episode 78 is now in the bag. Thanks to Stiffo, Joe, and Rob for joining us. And also thanks for the trust that you've put in us to be able to help us along on our journey. I do really appreciate that.
Nice, love it.
I think this is going to be awesome moving forward. And more importantly, thanks to all of our listeners, everybody who's joined this live stream. Enjoy the video at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning while she's still in bed, you lazy bunch. And also
after you've watched our video, just put it out there.
Yeah, I'm going to change the release time of my 12 now. The one thing I want to say is a big thank you to all of our patrons because you guys really do keep us motivated and keep us moving. So thank you to all of you guys. Everybody who's shown the support for the podcast, we do appreciate it. I don't know what's coming next. Episode 79, no idea, but we'll let you know. Oh no, episode 79 is the commercial, isn't it?
Commercial pod, yeah.
Yes, I've got to pimp this one. Our amazing friends over at Beer Merchants have given us a discount code. We're going to utilize it to its fullest. So what you need to do is you need to go onto our Facebook, or if you're a Patreon, onto our Discord. There is a list of 4 beers that we're going to be drinking on our next commercial pod. Get them if you can. Drink along with us. Tell us what you think. What we think's all right. It's we're the guys on the show, so we're kind of sort of important. But the bottom line is we want to know what you think. Okay, drink those beers. Let us know. What do you get? What do you feel? And also the Omnipolo one, Rob's already said is phenomenal. Owen said that he nearly died the last time he drank one, which is cool. But get those beers. We need to do this. It's our first proper commercial interactive podcast that we're doing on the 28th of October. Other than that, we're going to an after party. I'll post a link in a few seconds. Thanks to all of you for joining us, especially Joe. She's still smiling. And we're going to say we'll see you very, very soon. She hasn't hit me yet, which is a wondrous thing. Cool. Everybody say goodbye.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. See you soon.
Adios.
Okay.
Bye.
I'm going to... Right, Tricky, that's your break. I'm now going to post a link.
Good.
There you go, Bill.
I need a pee.
Go for a pee then. Go and have a pee. Start an instant meeting. Excellent. Control C.
I love the fact that we're probably still live whilst Tricky went, I really need a wee.
We are totally still live.
Yeah, that was great.
Right. For all of you who are currently in the chat, that's going to be the Google Meet that we're going to join up on. If you're on Facebook or YouTube, you've now got that link. For everybody who is in Discord, I will post it in a few seconds. If you want to talk to the guys from Malt Mill, you want to talk to us, just click that link and get in. I'm sure Joe's got more beers that she can drink. Podcast announcements. So that the link is out in the podcast announcement bit. We're going to stop being live right now. We're going to see you in a few seconds. Tatty bye.